It can be pretty awful. Sometimes there are difficult people all around you, manipulative people, people who are very egotistical or out for their own agenda. The point I'm trying to get everyone to understand is stop complaining, stop blaming the world, stop blaming this person or that force or that thing going on in society, and look at yourself and look at how you are responsible to some degree for what happens to you.
Power is a tool. It's totally neutral. Like a hammer, you can use it to build a house, or you could clobber someone over the head and kill them with it. So power is simply a tool. It's neutral. It is neither good nor bad. It can be used for evil. It can be used for great good. But power is the sense of having control over the immediate environment, over events that are occurring in your life. So to use this, to flip it around to the negative, if you sense in your daily life that you have no ability to influence your children, your spouse, your partner, the colleagues at work, your boss, the people in your company, it's a miserable, miserable feeling. You have no power, you have no control, you have no influence. You can't tell people to do, that you tell people to do something and they don't listen to you, right? Or they do things to you that kind of block your path.
If you're ambitious, yet find yourself low on the hierarchy, this trick can be useful. Appearing less intelligent than you really are. Even a bit of a fool is a perfect disguise. Look like a harmless pig and no one will believe you. Have a dangerous ambition and they will see right through you. They may even promote you since you seem so likable and subservient. Intelligence is the obvious quality to downplay, but why stop there? Make people feel they are more sophisticated than you are, and their guard will come down. An air of complete naivety can work wonders. Always make people believe that they are smarter and more intelligent than you are. They will keep you around because you make them feel better than themselves, and the longer you are around, the more opportunities you have to deceive them. Never outshine the master. Avoid outshining the master. A superiority is odious. But superiority of a subject over his prince is not only stupid, it is fatal.
That is kind of where the 48 Laws of Power came out of. My own powerlessness, looking at people in the world that I saw who were kind of controlling the game. What are the laws that they were using? I want to give you the feeling that so much you cannot control, but what you can control is your own psychology, your own mindset. You have to go into battle. This world is like battle. There's conflict everywhere. There's so much competition. You have to have a tough warrior type mindset and resilience about you. I'm trying to get you to think of making yourself self-reliant, where it all depends on you. So, you have two ways you can go in life. In my Laws of Human Nature, I talk about your attitude towards the world, whether it's negative and closed and kind of retreating, or whether it's open and excited and advancing. There's so much more insecurity. There's so much more competition. Nobody stays at one job for that long. Your boss no longer takes care of you as they used to take care of people, right? You're on your own, right? And you can either get all upset and turn inward and complain and worry and get insecure. And what happens when you do that is you're just making life more difficult, right? So if your attitude is, I'm only alive once, life is like a kind of adventure, I have to go out and be excited and make the best of everything that happens, and I have to be opportunistic. So opportunities will be coming your way. If you have that attitude where you're excited, you're open, and you're looking, things will happen to you. So I guess the main thing in my books is you have some power, but it has to come from within. No one's going to give you anything in this world. And I'm trying to train you to always look at yourself, to look at the role that you play in your failures and the bad things that happen to you, so you can develop this inner strength and this resilience that is the number one skill that you're going to need in this world today.
Your desire to please and impress, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Everyone has insecurity. When you show yourself in the world, and display your talents. You naturally stir up all kinds of resentment. Envy, it is too expected. You cannot spend your life worrying about the petty feelings of others with those above you. However, you must take a different approach. When it comes to power, outshining the master is perhaps the worst mistake of all. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain heights of power. If your ideas are more creative than the master's, then you must give him absolute credit to the work. Make it clear that your advice is merely an echo of his advice. If you make the mistake of outshining the master, if you're naturally more sociable, generous than your master, be careful not to be the cloud that blocks his radiance from others. An example is Galileo, the great scientist of the Renaissance time. He never had money for his great ideas and inventions. He depended generously on his rich friends. He discovered that the best way is to give credit of his inventions to the people who fund his side.
Never outshine the master will be an essential law now, and it'll be essential law 1,000 years from now, as long as you have to work with other people and other people have egos. It was because I wasn't getting along with my superior. I wasn't playing the ego game. I had a bit of an attitude myself. And the idea that struck me was that in this realm where, it's so important to make a lot of money and have success and have a show or a film that does really well, wouldn't you reward somebody like myself who actually had brought results? No, it was about ego. And in Hollywood, it's the same in the music business. It's the same in a lot of creative ventures in the art world. And I remember one time I wrote a screenplay which I thought was quite good and I thought could be an interesting film. And I had an agent, and I would go to places and they would say things like, Robert, you should really go into theater. And it was kind of an insult. It was a way to say, you don't have that popular touch. You're too literary. You're too intellectual for it. I wrote the book, The 48 Laws of Power, with a good deal of anger, and I think you can feel it when you read it, but it was an anger I could control and I could channel in there. That experience of him taking the credit for all my writing, I turned into law number 7. Get others to do the work, but always take the credit, which seems like a very evil law, and it is quite evil, I don't deny it. But the point of that law is other people are doing that to you. They're taking your work and they're putting their name on it. It happens every single day in every single line of work. You are replaceable in this world, right? At some point in your career, maybe as you approach the age of 30, there's now somebody coming up, 23, 24, 25, who can do your job for less money, who won't complain as much, who doesn't feel entitled to anything. You're gone. They're going to replace you, right? Okay? So you have to have the skill set, the position somewhere where you cannot be replaced. If there is only one you, if you're the only one that can really do this, if you're so original, if you're unique, you can't be replaced. People depend on you. You don't depend on them for your job. They depend on you, because if they fire you, if they get rid of you, who else are they going to get? It's about create dependence. It's like making people dependent on you.
You're at work and you need to get a promotion. But every single time you're the one who's seen talking to the boss, and your colleagues start to feel envious of you because they know you have special connection with higher powers. You need to cultivate an air of unpredictability. People are always trying to read the motives behind your action. Become unpredictable. Throw a completely inexplicable move and put them on the defense. People really try to notice the pattern and actions everyone makes so that they may make the best judgment for themselves. When you do something for an intelligent reason, it is really foolish to plot out your movements too carefully in advance. You're better off acting capriciously. Humans are creatures of habit with an insatiable need to familiarity to other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a sense of control, and that can be used against them. Be deliberate, be unpredictable. Behavior that seems to have no consistency or purpose will keep them off balance.
In the laws of human nature, that all of us are to some degree narcissists. That we should stop judging and thinking, well, that person is a narcissist, but I'm not. I'm so noble, I'm so saintly. The person who says that, who says, I'm not a narcissist, I'm so noble, I'm not like that, is actually a great narcissist because they think so highly of themselves. They think they're so different from anybody else, but they're not different. We are all self-absorbed, okay? But some people are what I call deep narcissists. They can't get out of their own self. They're so deeply enmeshed, they're so insecure that everything is about themselves. Every little thing that happens triggers their insecurities, right? And they're very dangerous people. Almost inevitably, the difficult boss will be a narcissist because if they had empathy, they would treat people better. They would treat people differently. And oftentimes people who rise to the top in this world today get there through their narcissism. Do you need this job? Is it worth having your self-esteem battered day in and day out, dealing with the drama, coming home and feeling upset, falling asleep and feeling upset, waking up with that feeling of dread? Is it worth it? Maybe you can't get out of this job. Maybe you need it. Maybe you're supporting a family. You have to have it, okay? But maybe you don't. Maybe it's not worth it in the end, okay? That's the first thing you have to consider. That's very important. All right. Okay, you can't get out of this job. You have to do it. You need the money, right? You've come too far. You just can't quit. The one thing you have to know is you got to develop, it's a skill you have to develop. It's a life skill you have to develop is it's not personal. You have to keep repeating yourself. It's not personal. It's not about me. It's not personal. It's not personal. It's not personal. Over and over and over and over again. If they can push your buttons and control you that way, then they're the ones that have power, right? So manipulative, narcissistic people are always creating drama around themselves. And you're going to be caught up in it, right? And so the main thing you have to do is not react. Not react. You can say something in response, but inwardly you are not reacting. You are cool, you are calm, you're saying, it's not personal, it's not about me, it's about them, right? Going through the whole script that I've just mentioned, I am not going to react. If you can do that and you can create some distance, then you can deal with people like that.
True communication is effective, it's strategic. Other people are naturally resistant to helping you or to aligning themselves with your interest. Everybody has their own problems. In the world today, we're all stressed, we're all working too hard, we never have enough time, right? So you talk to me about what you want, okay, I'm kind of half listening, but you're kind of irritating me because you're just spewing things from your side. True communication is what I was saying before. You take that step back and you put yourself in the other person's shoes, right? You get out of your own head because you're so self-involved that you don't realize that your words are just landing nowhere. You get out of your head and you go, I'm dealing with another person. They are not me. They have their own problems, their own wishes, their own issues right now in the present.
When you're in the business world, or when you're in the work world, you have to have some control over your emotions, right? So things like revenge, things like rubbing their nose in it, things like humiliating them to get back at them, get out of that space. That's a bad space to be in. That's a negative space that's going to bring you down. That's not a position of power. You are not after revenge. You are after control and power over your own life, over your own destiny. You know, becoming successful is the best revenge of all. So that man who told me I'd never be a writer, he's probably dead by now from alcohol. But the revenge I got was becoming successful.
You must recognize the motivations of others and see through the illusions people surround their actions with. You have manipulation involved. You need to learn to train yourself to pay more attention to the details than the words that people say, and a great attention to the actions. People always say all kinds of things about their motives and intentions, but real truth lies in how they act. People say much more about what's going on underneath the surface. If they present a harmless front but have acted aggressively on several occasions, give the knowledge of that aggression much of a greater weight than the surface they present themselves in.
So a lot of these people are very skilled at making you feel bad, right? And you're not quite sure if they meant it or what's going on in life. And the ability to see through that and to see through their game and to see that they're being very subtle about it gives you power, because you're not going to react. The ability to see through people, to recognize that they're manipulating, to recognize how they're manipulating you, is victory enough.